Welcome back, geometry students, to section 2.2. We're continuing, and this is kind of an add-on. This is truth tables, logic and truth tables. Let's go ahead and get I almost said starfish. I meant started. Compound statement. What is this? A compound, if you think about compound words, you're thinking about bookworm. I can't think of any other ones at the moment, but there's lots of compound words. Compound means two or more. So compound statement combines two or more statements. So compound statement, two or more statements combined together. Now, when we're talking about compound statements in logic and reasoning, we're thinking about two different types. We have conjunction. This prefix right here means together. So the symbol would be this one right here. It's kind of like a little mountain. Maybe I make the lines a little bit straighter. It's like a little mountain, a little carrot, with, if you will. And this means and. So this means and. Okay. And then we have disjunction. And this is the exact opposite. This is like a valley. And this means or. Okay, now what is the significance of and or? Well, and means two things together. They both happen. So for example, I eat my breakfast and I brush my teeth. Disjunction means one of the two happen, but not both. So for example, I brush my teeth or I eat breakfast. That means I have to choose one of those, okay? So disjunction is the valley, and conjunction is the mountain, okay? This connects them like a bridge. Think bridge for this one. And think gap for this one. You have to choose sides for this one. And bridge, you get to connect both sides. Let's talk about examples. This doesn't really mean a lot until we get into some examples and understand what it means. So this is a truth table. Okay, this lists all combinations of truth values for two or more statements. An example. So we're talking about P and Q, so we already know that this is a conditional statement. We already know P means the hypothesis, Q means the conclusion. So now we have this one. What does this one mean again? This one means conjunction. And then we have the second one, which means disjunction. So let's give some context. Let's come up with some ideas for the hypothesis and the conclusion. So let's come up with our hypothesis. And our hypothesis is Ohio is a state. Now, let's come up with a conclusion, and that is there are 50 states. All right, a lot of this is going to be kind of hypothetical, theoretical, so you got to just bear with me here, try to see the whole picture, and if you get to the end and you're like, how is this important? A lot of these principles are used in electronics, computer programming, electrical engineering, so these are all very much relevant within certain fields of mathematics, okay? But again, the logical process and understanding and critically thinking, these are all important. Okay, it's almost like a game. So think of it as a game. All right, now let's talk about, so this is a truth table. If it's a truth table, that means we have to determine the truth value of each statement. Well, that didn't work out well. Let's try that again. There we go, truth table. Now, let's consider the truth value of this first statement. Ohio is a state. Okay, that is true. Okay, Ohio is in fact a state. So we're coming up with the truth value of each one of these columns. Now, there are 50 states. Now, if we're talking about the United States, of course, this also is true. Now, conditional. This is the best way that I think I can understand it. This is the most confusing column right here. This column right here confuses people the most because it's a little abstract and it doesn't seem to follow a lot of the logic and reasoning that we abide to. But just hang in with me. The most important columns, in my opinion, at least for my classes, you'll definitely need to know these two. Those are really the important ones. But yeah, I like to introduce this just in case people really want to get into more theoretical logic and reasoning, and for people that are interested in computer programming. let's go ahead and proceed. Sorry for that hold up. I kind of want to use purple instead of the colors. Okay, let's go back to this. We're going to go true. True, there are 50 states. Now, this one, again, a little complicated, but this is how I like to consider it. If we live in a world where Ohio is a state, okay, so like a true world, then there are 50 states. That is going to be true, okay? So if we can imagine that we live in a world, and we do, where Ohio is a state, and that's true, then there are 50 states. Another true statement is also going to be true, okay? That's the complicated one. Now, let's go to the one that's not so complicated. Did I use this color? I don't know what color I used for there. I used this color, I suppose. Okay. Now let's go into one that's not so complicated. This just simply means, are both true? Okay? This means conjunction, so we're looking at both. Is there an and? Is Ohio is a state? True. And there are 50 states? True. Yes, they are both true. And you can just look here for that. Are they both true? Yes, it is. And that's why this one is true, because they're both true. This one is also pretty easy to pick up on. Is either statement true? I'm going to put question marks at the end, because that's the questions you should be asking yourself. Is either statement true? Well, both of them are true, so at least one is true, so this is also true, okay? All right, sorry. I don't want to confuse you too much with the different colors and everything, but I just wanted to give you an idea that that's the kind of sequence, that's where my eyes are looking, that's how I'm reading this problem, okay? Oops, I didn't mean to click on that. Let's go down. There we go, okay. Now, let's give another example, okay? So we have P, hypothesis. Georgia is a state, okay? That's my hypothesis. What's my conclusion? Sorry I didn't put punctuation at that one. Miami is a state. Okay, that's where I'm living, so I kind of know the answer to that one. Hopefully you guys do as well. Georgia is a state. That is true, of course. Georgia is, in fact, a state. Miami is a state. That is not true. Miami is a city, so we are going to put false for that statement. That is not true. Now, let's consider this. This is the tough one. Okay, let me make it green so you know it's tough. Tough. Okay. In a world where Georgia is a state, so a true world, okay, the one we're living in right now, is Miami a state? No, it's not. So if Georgia is a state, if that is true, then Miami, this is what that means. This is an if-then statement. Then Miami is a state. No, that's not true, because a true world to a false statement, no, that can't be true, okay? So that is false. Now, are both true? Conjunction, P and Q. That's how you say this. You say, let me write this down. I'll write it in orange. This, you say P and Q. And this one is P or Q. So P and Q, is this true? Is Georgia a state and Miami is a state? No, that is false. Only Georgia is a state is true statement, so we're going to put false there. Now P or Q, are either one of these true? Yes. Georgia is a state is true, therefore P or Q is a true statement, because we're talking about either one. Is either one? If only one is true, then we're good to go, okay? Next one, hypothesis. We have 2 plus 2 equals 5. Okay, that's our hypothesis. Hopefully you can see where this one's going already. Conclusion. 2 times 2 equals 4. Okay. Now, this was where it gets tricky with one of the columns. So the first statement, hypothesis, is clearly false. 2 plus 2 is not equal to 5. Probably a lot of you say that as a joke, but that's not true, okay? The conclusion, 2 times 2 is true. This is where it gets a little tricky. In a world, okay, in a world where 2 plus 2 equals 5, so if 2 plus 2 does in fact equal 5, and it doesn't, so we're in like an alternate universe, 2 times 2 equals 4. This is true. And this is, I've never found a very good explanation for this. I've asked a lot of people. There's not a lot of good explanation for this, but this is a true statement right here. Why? the best way I can explain it is if that is true, okay, if it's true, then no matter what you say, it's going to be true, because we're living in an alternate universe and anything goes. It doesn't really, it's a world we don't fully comprehend, so we have to assume the conclusion is true also. Okay, that's the best I can do. I'm going to move on because that's not my primary focus. Next up, P and Q. Are both of these true statements? We just have to look here. We see that they're both not true, and it is false. Okay, they both need to be T's like they are here in order for this to be a true statement. P or Q. We just have to look here. We see that one of them is a T, so we put a T automatically. Okay. All right. Hopefully you guys picked up the pattern. We have one last one. 2 plus 1 equals 4. Okay, we're really struggling with our arithmetic here. And then dolphins, a little biology here, are big fish. Okay, dolphins are big fish. Hypothesis, false, clearly. We know that. You guys learned that a long time ago. Dolphins are big fish. They are mammals. So we're going to put false here. For this next one, if 2 plus 1 equals 4, if that's the world we're living in, then dolphins are big fish. We put true again. Again, we're talking about alternate universe. If this is ever false, okay, if P is ever false in this if-then statement, the truth value, then this one is always going to be true, okay? That's a little counterintuitive. It's kind of hard to wrap your brain around, but just think of it as a puzzle, and that's how the puzzle is situated. Those are the rules for these truth tables. That's the best way I can explain it. If you want, go out and look for it, but I haven't found a better explanation yet. Now, both is true. This is the one these next two columns are important to me. Both of these are false, so clearly this one is going to be false. All we need is one of these to be true for P or Q to be true, and it's not, so it's also false. So there's our truth table. All of these values are always going to be like this, okay? So if you have P, Q in this order, and you're going to want to have each one of these combinations, notice how we have T, 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 F, F, T, F, F. You always want to have all the possible combinations. And that's how you complete a truth table. We'll probably do some more practice later. Thank you for watching. Hope you learned something. Be good, be kind, be true, be nice, and